let's talk USA basketball, which is interesting because all of these subjects are really related. And Jerry Colangelo, who's experienced racism himself, he's talked about two of his grandchildren are half white, half black. He wants the men's team to express their feelings as they wish. Let's start with the roster. Justin, what do you think of this assembly around Kevin Durant this summer?
I mean, it's still a pretty damn good team. I think you could have a list of the guys that were left off, and I think they'd have a pretty decent shot at beating this team, but I still think they're the overwhelming favorite to win the gold medal. I think it's a good, balanced team. I think there's a lot of interesting things you can do there. If you're starting off, you got Kyrie Irving likely starting, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant. Then you got passing big men that are pretty dynamic, and Draymond Green, Marcus Cousins. There's so many different looks that you can go. You can go more defense with Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler. I just think it's a balanced team. I think there's a lot of young guys that really appreciate this opportunity. You hear guys like Klay Thompson, Kyrie Irving talk about just how much they've dreamed of winning a gold medal and how much this opportunity means to them. So I think even though it's disappointing, you don't see the same stars and kind of the cornerstone guys in USA basketball that you're used to seeing. I think the fact that there is that new blood and there is that hunger for the medal, I think you're going to see really good play. I think this is a great opportunity for so many guys, first-time Olympians in Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan. So I think that's going to be a draw in itself, and I think it makes it interesting to watch.
Darren, what do you think about this ongoing shoe, let's say, epidemic, where Nike in the photo shoots almost every single year for USA basketball has all the non-Nike guys, their shoes either blurred out, Coach K standing in the way? I mean, it's very much a corporate world here.
Well, you know what? Shoe wars have been going on for decades.
Yeah.
And it's fun to see how more subversive, sort of beyond, under the surface they get. But, guys like, us that follow incessantly, we notice sort of the little tricks and things they do. And Nike, more than any other year, Nike's been threatened. Under Armour's come on and secured some nice celebrity athletes. Adidas is making big moves, both their off-court wear and on-court wear, also with their roster of celebrity athletes. So, it's been a while since Nike's been threatened. And I think you're going to see more and more of these tactics, not just from Nike, but from some of the other shoe companies we talked about, because, as we know, Nike's taken over NBA uniforms this year. And so they're sort of trying to make, reestablish themselves. They're obviously the greatest power in sneakers still, but they're planting seeds for the future here. They're smelling some heat, and they're seeing some shoes running up on them from the back. But the players, I don't think they take the money seriously, but I don't think they take it as serious as these shoe companies are taking it. But it's always good to see, a mix of companies on the team and see what games get played.
If Klay Thompson didn't want to sit in the back row, his shoes shouldn't be so trash. Like they're a little rough. So I think a couple of those deserve the back row treatment.
Well, the Warriors aren't having a great year with shoes now.
Getting Kevin Durant on the Warriors is a huge win for Nike. I'm sure they absolutely love taking some shine away from Under Armour and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see kind of that subtext throughout the year.
This is an interesting thing. Kevin Durant mentioned it yesterday. 2 years ago when he made his decision to stay with Nike because Under Armour was courting him. They offered him everything, basically. Yeah. It was at a time when he was with USA Basketball before he left because of fatigue, which he later on said was because of Paul George's horrific injury. He was really scared of getting injured. But at that time, I don't know if you know much about the USA Basketball dynamic. Nike is heavily involved with that institution. They're on the buses. They're at the practices. They're in the meetings. They're everywhere. They're basically a part of the organization. And so for him to be courted to Under Armour at that time was significantly a lot of social pressure on him, peer pressure on him. And he admitted for the first time this week that he almost basically having Nike around at that time, it made it very difficult for him to make a decision. You have to understand these companies have a very large impact on the players. Justin, I think one player who's going to stand out in this Olympics for Team USA because of his size, his girth, and his zaniness is Boogie Cousins.
Boogie.
How are you going to stop him?
You don't. You don't. Like, they don't have an answer how to stop Boogie in the NBA. I mean, he might stop himself with his mouth or doing things like that. But physically, I can't see anybody not being overmatched when you look kind of at the competition across the world. These are the best of the best. I just don't think there's really an answer for it. The only way to really stop DeMarcus Cousins is if you're providing an open lane for the dynamic guards to just get to the rack and they're not feeding him the ball. But as long as he's getting touches, which I assume he will, just with how dynamic he is in the pick and roll, he's added the 3-point game to his arsenal this season, shooting 33.3%, and I'm sure that range is going to be even more significant with a closer 3-point line in international competition. So this is a dynamic player that's going to be able to just give fits to the opposing coaching staffs because he can take it outside, inside. He has the ability to put the ball on the floor, create for himself and others. He's a really special player, and when you're looking at just pure talent at this point, especially with the injuries to Marc Gasol, until Cat puts it all together, I think DeMarcus Cousins is the best and most dynamic center in the game right now.
Yeah. Darren, if they happen to win gold, I mean, they're very likely to. Do you see them making, a political statement on the podium?
Boy, that would be something to see. And, I can't call it because, I look at it would be the most likely scenario. And, I was going to allude to earlier that, the difference between, the NBA, having these political stances throughout their season and doing it in the Olympics is that international stage. So what better place than to bring that attention than in the Olympics? And with Melo, with Melo there and Colangelo speaking his mind, all the seeds are set for them to make that statement. Unlike Olympics past, it probably wouldn't be as spontaneous or as, spur of the moment. But either has been the tragedies that have led up to it. It's been a consistent march to tragedy, consistent march to violence. And so I have no problems. In fact, I would gather my kids around the TV, and that would be one of those moments. When I was a kid, my dad woke me up in the morning and made me watch, Mandela getting released from prison. And that stuck with me. And in these times here, you got to bring the kids around these events. And I think that would be a great platform to show these kids really, our Muhammad Ali or, somebody that's, because they haven't had that in their generation.
It's true.